Good morning. Day 4. It is Thursday, and just to show you the extreme difference in Michigan temperature, on Monday when I got here it was 40 degrees. Cooled off a little bit yesterday, but last night it got down to 2 degrees. I don't know if you can see this thermometer here. Right now it's showing about 6 degrees, and it's warmed up a little bit, but last night it was a little chilly. I'm in my 20-degree sleeping bag, and I can always tell when it gets down in the single digits because I feel the cold through the bottom. The bottom layer is actually thinner than the top layer. And I've been down in this 20-degree sleeping bag below zero before, and I wouldn't say it's comfortable. It's tolerable. My toes tend to get cold, and so that's how I know it got cold last night. Not horribly cold, but yeah. I love to, when it's warm, actually anytime, I love to get the blood flowing again first thing. So I'm going to get out, I'm going to chop some firewood and get my blood flowing. My water froze, believe it or not. So I'm going to get a fire going first thing this morning, warm up my water that I boiled last night. I set it by the fire until the fire went out, but it wasn't enough. So up and at 'em. Time to wake up and get going on the day. All right, here we go. I like choosing standing trees as much as possible because they tend to be drier. There's a lot of other debris down on the ground. If I had to use it, I would, but they're snow covered. They probably soaked in some water. So I'm going to fell this dead tree here, cut her up, and that should do it. Timber! There you have it. All right, well, it's time for some personal hygiene before I get my fire going. I know it's common knowledge that you can use some of this charcoal to brush your teeth, but what I like to do is I like to grab some of this white charcoal. I like to just smear it on my teeth. And it kind of makes like a little paste. With your saliva, it makes a little paste, and you can, it's almost like just brushing with toothpaste. It doesn't taste bad at all. You probably don't want to use poison ivy, I'd imagine. But I'm always talking to see my ABCs in my head. That's how I know I brush them good. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Was that 4 strikes? Getting a little better. Bear Grylls always says, you take care of a fire when it's nice and small, It'll take care of you when it gets bigger. Everybody always mocks my accents because I'm horrible. Was that British, you think? Or was that Australian? Or was that like a Australish British? I don't know. I got some more of this pine bark, and you can eat this stuff. You can eat it raw, and it tastes just fine. But by far, my favorite way to eat these is to rip them up into little strips. I've got to take off this outer bark layer that didn't come off when I was scraping the tree. And then I just roast them over the fire till they're kind of crispy. They're like pine bark chips. If I had access to some butter or some oil, some olive oil, I could cook them in there. And then it's really good. Fried up, but this is pretty good itself. I've not really tried much anything I don't like. But I have to say, years and years ago, I don't know how many years ago it was, when Bear Grylls started his Man versus Wild, he would eat all sorts of different nasty stuff, drink his own urine, and you know, a lot of people get grossed out by stuff like that. To me, it's kind of a challenge. I want to see if I have what it takes to survive the worst circumstances if need be. So I've tried just about everything. There's a few things that I have not enjoyed. Worst thing that I've ever eaten. Urine was probably the worst. I don't know if that's not really a food, but it's doesn't necessarily have that bad of a taste. I think it's just the thought of what it is. And there have been some nasty tasting slugs. I gotta admit that. Wasp larva, it's pretty good. Earthworms really aren't that bad. Problem with earthworms is they got a lot of dirt inside of them, so you got to kind of squeeze them out, let them soak in water for a little while. Yeah, that's probably the best, and then just take and squeeze them out. You still don't get everything, but it's better than if you don't. Well, that's nasty food with Justin. Now here's that cattail root. This is by far the best way to eat that. You chew it up and get all the starch out. Tastes way better than cattail cracker with no other ingredients. There's a few of the rootstock, the fibrous material that you can't eat too much of, but basically I'm just chewing off all the starch and then I'll spit out whatever's undigestible. You don't even really have to peel them if you don't want, but I found that you get less of that swampy taste in your mouth. There you have it. This is like food day with Justin. I have to start my own cooking show. Wilderness cooking for the 3 people who are interested. Yeah, I don't think that one will take off. Okay, I am heading out to find a nice tree that I can craft into a bow. The sun's come out a little bit. That hasn't really warmed up, but I've seen some squirrels hopping around. So I know my chances of actually shooting a squirrel with a bow and arrow are pretty slim because I'm not an excellent marksman. However, something to do to keep me busy and potentially provide some food. So realistically, I'm not going to be able to get this up and going today, but hopefully tomorrow I'll have a chance. Hopefully it'll be nice and some of those critters. I'm very limited as to what I can actually hunt here in Michigan right now, and squirrels are pretty much it. If I came across a raccoon, I could do that. Yeah, birds are pretty much, small birds, but geese. Not too many geese around here. Not too much open water for them to swim around and land in. I did see some turkey, but unfortunately it's not turkey season. So, start with a bow, see where we go from there. I think I found the perfect one. And it is just barely on my property. You can see the trees with the red marks. All right. Not sure which part. Probably from here down would be my suspicion. It's nice and straight, which is what we're looking for. There we have it. Well, so I thought. Perfectly good bow, but I might be able to reconfigure it into a crossbow. See what I have to do. Wouldn't you believe that I have been saving this piece that's from my shelter, and then looking around, tried splitting one for the stock of my crossbow, but this is going to be absolutely perfect. I don't know if you can hear the coyotes or not. Owl. Those coyotes are really going at it tonight. I've heard them every night, but tonight they are really carrying on. It's a full moon. It's crisp, few clouds in the sky, but you can see a ton of stars. It is absolutely beautiful. It is 4 degrees, and this is my last night alone. Oh, this has been quite an adventure. It's been fun. Every time I get out in the woods like this, I don't know, I just get the sense that life is way simpler than we tend to make it out to be. You get caught up in the rat race of life and you start pursuing all sorts of crazy things that you think are important, you think are necessary, and then you get them and you end up feeling just as empty as before you got them, and you're left with this unquenchable hunger and thirst, and there's something that you're missing. And I think when you get out here and you spend some time in the woods, the wild has a way of bringing out kind of that primal sense of what it means to be human. You know, there's really not that much that we need. I mean, food, shelter, water. Other than that, I think we just get carried away with excess. I mean, there's a lot of value and there's a lot of great stuff that we have living in this day and age, but I think we've maybe lost something that makes us who we are. I need this, I need this every so often to get out. To get outside, to remember what it's all about, what it is that we truly need. Ah, 4 days is not long enough.